Here, I'll date it. You just like. There's nobody today. No, there is. Good morning.
Hey guys, it's Chris.
I miss Chris.
I can't see you, but I can hear you.
Ah, well, welcome. And we also have, hello, David, and Janet, and Lenny. Great to see everybody. And super. Let me do this. There we go. All right. So today is going to be a supine day.
Melissa, she'll join late, so just peek at the waiting room.
Okay.
Later,
Okay.
I don't know when.
All right. Thank you. I will try to keep peeking at the waiting room. Good morning to everybody. Today's going to be a seated day. I love the seated days. So I guess I'll have to be in a chair. Is that true? So find a comfortable upright posture. I highly recommend doing this in a chair. I'm probably going to do it from the floor, but I'm going to show you how to do it from a chair. And I highly recommend you do it from a chair, especially if this is new to you. Because what's really important about the supine position is to use a position that allows you to breathe. Oh. Let me start the recording. Hang on a second. Where is it? Oh, we are recording. All right, hang on a second. Got it. So, it's very important to find a good position where you can breathe. If I'm like this, it's really hard for me to get breath in the back. I think probably all of us have had a conversation. Oops, hang on a second. Sorry. Sorry, guys. Oh, hold on. Hello. Okay. All right, sorry. I just saw all of you there a second ago, so I'm sorry it took me a second to let the last group in. But here we go, we'll start over. So good morning to everybody. I'm so thrilled to see everybody here. What a thrill. Today we're doing a seated one, and I love the seated one. It's become one of my favorites, one of my 3 favorite positions. So here it is. Here I am hyperextended on the front of my sit bones. Here I am slouched. This is American posture, right? What we want to do is we want to notice that we're on the back. Sit bones here, where at least we can breathe. I can still get a breath in my back from the slouch position, which is maybe why we tend to slouch. And then, if I roll forward and try to sit up straight, I'm hyperextended. I'm on the front of my sit bones. And when I'm like this, I cannot get a breath in my back. Very bad. So now let's roll back. Find the back. And I want you to roll forward until you find the transition point, where you're neither on the front of the sit bone nor on the back of the sit bone. And when you find that spot, it's going to feel like your sit bones suddenly plug into the chair. Right? Don't try to crank your upper back up, right? Find how far you can extend your upper back and still be able to have a long look, still be on the transition point and still be able to. I tried to exaggerate that for you, but I think I could show you that I could still breathe into my back, even though I'm not hunched over. So I found neutral. Okay, find that beautiful place between the front and the back of the sit bones. And then I'm going to have you rest your hands on your knees. Just like this. And now, and basically I would like for your knees to be just a little bit below your hips. You might find it's more comfortable if you're a little bit more below your hips. You know, something more like that angle. See that angle? As opposed to this angle. So find the angle that allows you to have the best relaxation, okay? All right, super. And then, let's have everybody, for now, close your eyes and feel the shape of the sensations of your body as you inhale and exhale. Feel the shape of the sensations of your body as you inhale and exhale. If you do sit on the floor, make sure that you can still find the transition point between the front and the back of your sit bones. Be able to find that transition point between the front and the back of the sit bones so that you can still be able to breathe. Okay? And then, again, feel the shape of the sensations of your body. Now, if you're not already doing so, begin breathing as if you could fill yourself from the bottom of you to the top of you. Let's start with the bottom of the pelvis up to the top of the chest and emptying yourself from the top of your chest down to the bottom of your pelvis. Remember that the most important instruction when you're practicing breathing is to let it be as easy as possible, to let it be relaxed. Let it be something that is softly expansive. Breathe as if you don't really have to do anything at all, as if you could just allow the power of the universe to breathe through you. Now remember that the only muscle that we have to have active intention in, the only one, is your thoracic diaphragm. And let's imagine we were standing now on our own bladder looking up at the thoracic diaphragm. When you relax, it's shaped like a dome. When you engage it, it flattens. Like a drum head. Notice that the sensations of inhalation feels different from the sensations of exhalation. The sensations of inhalation are the sensations of contraction. The sensations of exhalation are the sensations of relaxation. Feel for the borders of your diaphragm. Come back into your whole body and feel for the borders of the diaphragm where you know it's attached to the bottom of the sternum, the bottom of the rib cage, the transverse process of L1, and climbing all the way down the lumbar spine to L3 or L4. Climbing all the way down to the level just behind your navel. So when you inhale, let's start the breath there like we were shaking the tail of a manta ray, and let's allow that wave to travel up the spine, broaden at L2, ripple around the bilateral border. So a little bead of sensation traveling around each border. The right and left bottom of your rib cage, all the way around to the front of your sternum. And feel the wave moving right through the muscle belly of the diaphragm itself. Maybe you feel that line of sensation not just rippling and broadening at L2, maybe you feel it rising straight up to the dome of the diaphragm, making a loop around the esophagus. And feel how the wave travels up through the chest cavity to the top of the chest, and then when you exhale, feel the water level, like your body was a human-shaped tank of fluid that fills from bottom to top and empties from top to bottom. As you exhale, feel the water level dropping down through your body, all the way down through the abdomen, pelvis. And every time you exhale, you're going to relax more deeply than the time before. Notice that every time you do this, it makes it easier to get a bigger breath. And notice that no matter how much pressure you fill your chest with, you can always release that pressure by simply relaxing and allowing the breath to move up through the organ pipes right about the top of your head, neck, and shoulders. No resistance. The air pressure just trickling out of your nose. And just seem like you could relax in all directions whenever that happens. And bring your mind inside your abdomen. Feel the motion of your internal organs. Feel them lifting up during exhalation. Feel them getting pressed down, pressurized on inhalation. Feel them waving like seaweed in tide. Feel how the exhalation draws that viscera up towards your head. And every time you relax more deeply with each exhalation, that drawing reaches deeper and deeper toward the pelvic. And at some point, your air stops moving, even though you can feel that you are completely immersed in the process of relaxing deeper, more thoroughly. And feel how you can relax through the apparent pause between exhalation and inhalation for a long time, as that sense of drawing reaches for the floor of the pelvis. When it does, you'll feel a little lift. You'll feel the pelvic floor pucker in to your body. See if you can feel the entire border of that puckering sensation at the floor of the pelvis as it lifts in at the end of your exhalation. And when it drops, allow that drop to tip your sacrum back and open the door for the next inhalation to ride up the spine. And feel how, as it rides up the spine, if you weren't feeling for it before, this time search for it with your awareness. See if you can feel for the line of sensation that that loops around your esophagus. And guess what? It's a skeletal muscle, so actually it is there for you to go ahead right now and actively choose to, as you inhale, contract. Feel for that line of contraction that rides right up around your esophagus, and notice that when you feel for that loop light up with the sensations of contraction, you can feel that sense of pulling at the front of the throat and under the chin augmented. If you want, just draw a random loop with your intention to contract. You know basically where it is. My chances are that you will get it because it's a skeletal muscle. So go ahead. If you haven't felt that loop yet, really try to discern for that loop. Notice how when you do that, the tugging sensation rises up from that loop and you feel it more in your throat. And you feel it right before the wave of complete contraction coming up from the whole diaphragm reaches the top of the chest. So that pulse comes up through your food tube, just a little bit ahead of the wave that travels up to the top of the shoulder girdle. But let's feel for the shoulder girdle now. Let's feel for all of those muscles comprising the shoulder girdle, which is kind of be more elaborate than a set of football pads sort of around yourself. And imagine that every time you inhale, that layer just lifts away from your body in all directions, like a softly exploding set of football shoulder pads. And every time you exhale, everything comes back toward itself, but it comes back with a slightly better sense of integration than it did beforehand. Make sure that your tongue is flat on the roof of the mouth, that you make your suction seal, and feel how the tugging at the front of the throat is going to draw your whole lower jaw toward the back of your throat. It's going to pull it back and down. It's going to nudge it back in the direction of the food tube itself. Let it go there. It's going to pull it backward in the direction of the food tube itself, so let it go. And feel how that brings the breath right to the center of your head when you do. If your suction seal is in a good spot, feel how just after your jaw goes back and down, causing that little flux in the floor of your mouth that sort of springs the breath right to the center of the head. Just after that, as the tongue goes back and down, as does the roof of the mouth, make the tongue as suction to the roof of the mouth, but remember the roof of the mouth is also the other end of a tube, perhaps not as directly connected to the esophagus, etc., as the food tube, as the front of the food tube, the mouth, the floor of the mouth, but the roof of the mouth too is part of the food tube. So it goes back on its own, but if your tongue is suctioned to it, it will go back more powerfully. So let the floor of the mouth move back and down. And let it carry the tongue. And let the tongue add to the motion of the roof of the mouth. And feel how they unfurl like little sails in the head. And now the breath comes right up the back of your head, neck, and shoulder. And now let the cheeks move. Let them get drawn in on inhalation, let them puff back out on exhalation. Breathe through the whole face. Find your eardrums and relax them. Breathe through your eardrums. Allow your temples to be drawn in on inhalation, let them puff back out on exhalation. The frontal lobe cools off. There's another diaphragm that I found yesterday or a couple days ago. See if you can feel it. Imagine, feel for the top of your nasal cavity, the roof of your nasal cavity. It would be just barely below your eyes, right at the middle of your eyeball, just barely below there. See if you can feel the top of your nasal cavity and see if you can allow it to feel light and let it move as you inhale and exhale. Feel how it gets pulled down on inhalation and then lifts back up on exhalation. Feel how it kind of gives you a better picture of what's happening inside your orbits, for the alignment of the bones inside your orbit when you contact this diaphragm at the roof of your nasal passages. And now let's feel for our orbits, the bony cups for our eyeballs. Let's try to feel out the little scoop of sensation that is the bony cup for each eyeball. And now feel for the borders of the eyeball itself. Of course, if at any time you want to do alternate side breathing, that makes you more comfortable, please feel free. Or arms and leg breathing, okay? Because I know we're coming to the end. But I want to keep doing this stuff in the head. It's okay. So feel for the borders of your eyeballs. And add arms and legs if you wish. Feel for the borders of your eyeballs. Feel for the tissues, the cells, and the fluids in between your eyeballs and the bony socket. There's no actual space there. It's a fluid matrix. If you treat it like a liquid, it will act like a liquid. If you treat it like a solid, it will act like a solid. Let's treat it like a liquid. And feel how, as you soften the area around your eyeballs are more easily drawn in on inhalation and puff back out on exhalation. Now let's see if we can feel for the edges of our corneas. Feel for the edges of the corneas. You may find that there's a little high section of that cornea that's not as clear. If that's the case, see if you can't relax the diaphragm on the back side of the body near the transverse process, rather between the spine and the 12th rib. Make sure you're relaxing the diaphragm on the corresponding side of the body between the spine and the 12th rib. And see if you can't make that edge a little more clear and distinct as you relax those fibers of diaphragm more deeply and feel for the direct pressure connection between that part of the diaphragm and the eyeball itself. And now find your irises. They are just below your cornea. Your cornea is like a little dome, a little bubble. I think like the bubble on the boatmobile. Yes, I think so. And your iris is flatter. It's a ring of muscle, it's a sphincter really. Feel for that cornea and let it be so relaxed. Feel for the fluids around that iris. So feel for the iris and relax the fluids around the iris. Treat them like a liquid. Feel it loosen up all of the actual muscle cells of the iris. Feel your iris get drawn in on inhalation. Feel it puff back out on exhalation. If there's any part of your iris that doesn't feel clear, find the part of your diaphragm, especially near the transverse process, between the transverse process and the spine, but go all the way out to the 12th rib and just relax those fibers as you exhale. And try to allow that pressure change to reach right up into your head, to your iris. Drain away any stiffness that keeps it from moving. And now the lens. Allow the lens on both sides to be soft and relaxed. See it like a little mini trampoline behind your iris. A mini trampoline with a clear mesh. Feel it drawn in on inhalation, feel it puff back out on exhalation. Feel the whole eyeball soft. And if you haven't started right and left side breathing yet, or if you haven't been breathing with arms and legs, do at least some now. Do at least 3 breaths like that. And then let's go into right and left sided breathing, okay? Notice how when you allow the arms and legs to participate, you feel as though you could allow that wave of contraction to mature forever. That you stop moving air long before you need to exhale, because the contraction is not fully matured. Let's do one more with all the arms and legs and try to make the same amount of contraction. Now I said 3, but let's do at least one more. Try to make the sensation symmetrical on the right and left sides. Allow the shoulders and hips to shift subtly with respect to each other till they plug into each other and find balance. When everything plugs back into each other, you'll feel like you're flying. Like you're carving a really deep curve on the slide. Feel that sense of everything engaged and gliding. And then, when we get to the bottom of the pelvis, let's start on the right side. Obviously, feel free to not listen to my instructions if they mess up your flow. My instructions aren't really that important. They're just observations. Anybody can do this. I'm a very bad monkey. I've gone over in a few minutes. But you guys can keep relaxing and breathing. And you can also continue with the right left side breathing. I am available to answer some questions for a little bit before I have to get ready to see my patient. But if anybody has questions, I'm sorry to kind of end abruptly because I just realized that I am a couple minutes behind. But as many of you who know me realize that's pretty good. How's everybody? Any questions? Oh, do I have to unmute everybody? There we go. There we go. Hi, any questions, comments, feedback?
Good here. Wondering about the flooding at your end of town.
Oh, well, there's some flooding. It's not terrible. I mean, the water's really high on the inlet, actually. You know that boat that's been
Yeah.
last 2 nights. I don't know if you can see it. Most of it's underwater over there.
Yeah.
Anyway, not that bad. Let me show you some things. If there's no questions right now, I'd love to just do a couple things with you all, if I may. Oh, shoot. Let me show you these.
Lost you.
There we go. Okay. She's sharing her desktop.
I'm trying my desktop because I want
Right.
to show you some things.
I'm losing your voice.
That's because I'm not saying much.
Oh,
Here's
good.
a nice one. Whoa, do you see it?
Mm-hmm.
This is kind of like a membranous. I don't know, but this thing moves. I can feel it right up in here.
Hmm.
Oh my God, there's another move. All right. So feel for this thing. Did you guys find this with your breath? This thing here? Can you see my thing? Hello?
Mm-hmm. I see it.
Okay. Did you feel for this thing up here at the top of your nasal passages?
I could feel a pulling on the top of my nasal passages between there and my eyes.
Yes. That's it. That's it. Pretty nice. Pretty nice. All right. And what else did I want to show you? I wanted to show you. Here's an eardrum. Boom. See a little sheet attached to a frame. Right. And then Um, oh, look at this space around the eyeball. See it? Space around the eyeball with the fat and the muscle and that big fat nerve right through there. You see it? Yes. Here's the edge of the cornea. Just want to make sure, give everybody a review if they haven't had this before. Hang on, hang on. Oh, here's the bony socket. Oop, oop. Sorry, I'm working on trying to get all of this online, but you know, I'm very technologically backward. And so I'm having to catch up, doing my best. There we go. Cornea. This is an iris. There's like fluid in there. But here's the iris, is this muscle. Here's the lens just behind the iris, and you see its little ligaments that attach it. And there it is, sitting there, right in the center, like the central tendon of the diaphragm. How lovely. And is there anything else that was important for today? No, I think that's it. I think that's it. Well, it never hurts for you guys to look at your pelvic floor again, right? And feel for the different sets of, you know, feel for, see if, get a picture of this from the computer until I get mine up there, because before I'm able to share these. But here, see if you can feel each one of these muscles. Why not develop your awareness of each one individually? See if you can sit there and contract the ones in the back. You can. Try for the ones in the middle. You can do it. You're tough. You're strong. I know you do. Yes, you can do it. You can do it. And then, and I guess that's it for today. That's it for today. Except, well, this is something I want you all to be able to recognize in yourself as well. So let me just leave you with this little bit here. Look at this. Yes, that could be you. And hold on, I'll share one last thing. I'm gonna get him off this spot. Sorry. There we go. I'm gonna turn down the volume for a second. But,
Inflatable tube Taylor Swift. What the hell?
yes, yes. All right. This was actually the best Tube Man video that I didn't look extensively, but in terms of our purposes, okay, all right, stop there. All right, stop. All right, there we go. 1 second. Let me stop the music. Hang on. How do I do it? There we go. All right. All right. Are there any questions for me? No, everybody's good? Super duper. All right, well, I hope everybody has a great day.
Thank you.
We
You
did our
too.
test class yesterday on how to use this to move the body. We're going to be continuing on with that class and probably making support classes for it similar to this for the level 1 breathing. What this is for the level 1 breathing class, we're going to make a very simple movement class, probably a half hour each day, just doing the very simple little things to move the body. Probably like 20 minutes of stuff that we have learned specifically and maybe 10 minutes of requests, right? Okay? All right. So everybody have a great day. Thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate having you here. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.